Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at One Piece 823. What more can you say to a chapter like this? Truly. There's a reason why One Piece is number one. There's a reason why people call Oda Goda. And he just keeps pumping out these 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 chapters consistently. Okay, he needs breaks, but he deserves them if he's pumping out chapters like this. Now, normally we do 5-point reviews. Recently I've been doing summaries and then reviews. This way, I'm hoping to do some analysis. I can break this down to 3 points with some speculation. But without further ado, let's get into this. So, the chapter itself can really be split into 3 parts, 2 kind of being linking. We'll get the first part of the way and then I'll break down the other 2. So the first point, I will refer to my notes because I did some research on my own just to give you a bit of an idea what I was looking at. Is the first part is to do with Reverie. The fact that we're getting this much of an update so quickly is interesting. So here's a few things to bear in mind with it. We get to see quite a few of the different members from the different kingdoms. We get some surprising returns from characters, and we get some figures. So let's start with the figures. We get told there's 50 kingdoms that are basically being involved, and it made me think 50 kingdoms, kind of like states from America. It gave me that vibe that, you know, it's maybe referencing America here with 50 states, 51 states, the 51th being with the world government, really. So that was one thing that struck to mind. The second thing was, if you look at the amount of kingdoms that have been noted, and you look at the amount of kingdoms positively affected by the Straw Hat Pirates, it equates to about 10%. Now hear me out. So here's the first thing. Dressrosa, the Kingdom of Prudence, Fishman Island, the Hapo Navy or Kano, and Sakura Kingdom, which was the former Drum Kingdom. There's at least 5 kingdoms, there's probably more, but then I'm immediately thinking about those 5 kingdoms that we can think of that was mentioned in this chapter that the Straw Hat Pirates have had a positive influence on. 10%. I'm guessing by the end of the story, what will possibly happen is that will get a lot closer to 50%. How that happens, I don't know, but honestly, I do definitely think that that's going to happen, and the 6th kingdom is probably going to be Wano Kingdom. That's just my thought. But the reason why Wano Kingdom isn't really taken into consideration properly because it isn't necessarily part of the whole world government alliance, so to speak. So that's the first thing to bear in mind with this point. This will be a long review because I've got some interesting points to bear in mind. So now let's go through what actually appears. We get this whole situation with talking about Alabasta. We get Vivi. She's like really confident, jumping off things, and it's that pirate side of things. She wants to be free. She hasn't been free for a while. Bearing in mind, we saw her left at Alabasta. She stayed at Alabasta. There's been at least 2 years since then. So we see that. We see her with Cobra talking about suitors. Cobra wanting to go to the Reverie to ask about his past and find out about his past and the poneglyphs. We then go to Logtown and we see the king of Goa Kingdom being Stelly, who is the stepbrother of Sabo, and he's become the king of Goa. And you get that, and you get him talk about Goldie Dodge, a nice little name drop there. Then this is where some of the details come into it. We see bits and bats of different kingdoms. Now there's one panel and it has the striped kind of pillars on top of the domes of the buildings there. It reminds me of the stories about Liv Nil, you know, the thing that's been linked to Sanji's past, the Liv Nil kingdom with what's his name now, sorry, Mont Blanc, the Liars kind of home country in town. We then see a panel of a ship called Elysia. So I thought that's interesting. I've not really heard of that. It's got a picture of a lion and everything else. And when you look it up, it's actually a place in Athens. So you could say that technically represents Greece. Then you get a panel of a picture that looks remotely like, or really distinctly like, I should say, like Hitler. That could be a representation of Germany. And directly next to him, there's also a person that looks like he's from basically a colder area, Siberia or something like Russia, Moscow. Then you get a flag which really represents Latin America and possibly Mexico. and then you get the guy that's dressed. He looks a bit like Apu, and he's kind of dressed like the whole Chinese tradition, kind of triad-esque, dragon tattooed on the side of his head, potentially representing China. And then you get a few known kind of places. You know, we talk about Kano and the Hapo Navy. You've got the new Drum Kingdom, Black Drum Kingdom with Wapol. Still a piece of shit. Yes, I said it. And we get Dalton with Sakura Kingdom. I just found it interesting how you have all these different places that are linked potentially to real life places. So can you imagine that potentially the real life ones for all the other kingdoms? I probably mentioned about 10 there, maybe more, I haven't counted. And it represents countries in the real world, and maybe the ancient kingdom is represented by a kingdom. One of the theories is it's Indonesia with the whole Joy Boy situation, but that's a theory for a different day, and there's plenty of people that have thrown theories out there. But that's point number 1. So the second section of the story is basically on Luffy's ship. We see the aftermath of the fall. Everyone's like, oh, I'm dying. And you know, no one's really recovered, and you get Peckham's going, don't think I'm gonna forget this type of thing, like he's gonna kick his ass. Betting a man is nearly dying anyway, he's on the verge of death as it is. How that's happened with him having a turtle shell, I don't know, but in any case, it was interesting nonetheless. Now, that whole part of the actual experience can be split into 2 parts. The last part, you'll understand why. I'm sure you've already read it, but I'm going to give my speculation separately on that. We get confirmation that Kara is on the ship. A lot of people speculated it. I was one of those that remotely thought it. You know, Rogers Bates mentioned it, and a few other people have mentioned it, so that's been confirmed. But she was so cute and so funny at times. She was like, no, don't send me back. She started crying, going, please, I want to go on an adventure. And she sounds so cute. She goes, oh, I brought myself some bento, some carrots, and blah, 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 blah. And she goes, how long do you think that's going to last you? Half an afternoon? She goes, it's going to take us a few days. She goes, what? A few days? And she was like proper excited of the idea of going out to sea. And you think that, and I think to myself, why not have her as a Straw Hat member? Now, I'm not to say I'm the first person to mention this. I'm not to say I'm the original person to mention this. But would it not be cool to have somebody like that? You know, wanting to go out on adventures, kind of like the VVS type of person, wants to go out and, you know, do their thing. She's like, no, don't send me back. Wanda's gonna shout at me. It was so funny. And then you get Luffy like eat the carrot and nearly getting killed and pat on the head. And she was fine. It was so weird and so funny at the same time. But then this leads to the final point with Bedro. He's sitting in the cuckoo's nest at the top, the watchtower area, and he gets a newspaper. That leads to point number 3. Point number 3. Wow. Honestly, wow. For something that only covers potentially, what, 2 or 3 panels? Not even a full page? Wow. Pedro's reading a newspaper. Massive headline. A kingdom that's been hidden in mystery, shrouded in mystery for thousands of years. Potentially linked to the ancient kingdom, maybe. Potentially linked to Raftel, maybe. It's been discovered by the world government. And it's already destroyed. Now you're probably thinking, Blackbeard's done it. He's wrecked the world government. And sorry, he's wrecked the Revolutionary Army's hideout. Possibility. Very distinct possibility. He could have wrecked the Revolutionary Army. Very distinct possibility. However, it's not the only option. A lot of people think, oh, that's it. That's the power of Blackbeard. And it really is. But you must understand the type of devil fruit powers he's got. Bearing in mind he has Whitebeard's power. Whitebeard's power is something that does damage on a grand scale. And here's also a possibility, because bearing in mind the Revolutionary Army is meant to be a power that can counter all the other, you know, agencies, CP0 maybe, well, government. This is again assumption. This is not necessarily confirmed, but that's what we're led to believe, generally speaking. But if Blackbeard's gonna wreck them, how powerful is Blackbeard? Now this can be 2 things. This could be setting up Blackbeard to be really the superpower now, and the one closest to become the Pirate King. One thing I did theorize before, the confirmation that he beat and utterly destroyed the remnants of the Whitebeard crew is a good indicator to that, because after that he was referred to as the 4th Yonkou at that point, right? Here's another thing that could potentially have happened. It could have been a stalemate. Blackbeard could have got desperate, and Blackbeard could have just wrecked the island in a way to do as much damage as possible to them before escaping. Or it could be even something better than that. What if Blackbeard turned out on the shores, he got there, decided to wreck the island from afar, because A, he knew there was a lot of devil fruit users on it, and B, he knew that his champion, Jesus Burgess, may not have had a devil fruit and can swim. Just a distinct possibility, thinking about he's physically strong, right? What if that happened? So it's a possibility that literally he's just wrecked the whole island and wiped out everybody in a fight and just destroyed the revolutionary army. But bearing in mind how powerful Sabo is, and he's just one character, and there's that character with the crows, and I'm sure there's many other commanders out there that may have already met up at this point, possibly. I find it hard to believe that we've had all this mystery with the revolutionary army, and then we don't get to see him fight. Again, a fight off panel, it'll be interesting. So we do want some clarification on that, because that is a fight I was looking forward to see. But what it does do, it does close that chapter on that specific clash and pushes the story forward for everything else. This possibly can be explored in flashback, or they might leave this closer to the end, where the revolutionaries have gone underground, they're using that to fake the death, and then they'll appear when a big major world event happens. Reverie, maybe? We'll have to wait and see. In any case, that is a review of the chapter. A bit of speculation, bit of interesting points to bear in mind, bit of ideas from my side. I hope you enjoyed the chapter, because I really enjoyed the chapter. 9 out of 10 for me. What could have topped this off if we got to see a Kaido information, if we got to see more about what happened. But Oda loves throwing us for a loop every chapter with these cliffhangers. I can't wait to see more. I really can't wait for next week. I was on edge when I saw some of the spoilers. I really shouldn't have. But oh my god, what a chapter, what an ending, what setup. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Hope you enjoyed the review. If it's something you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, show your support. I'll continue to do these reviews. I'm very close to 50. I'd really like to get that as soon as possible on my goal to 100 and then to 1,000 by the end of the year. I can only do it with your support, so continue showing me that support, and I'll see you next time. And as always, peace.